Now, you can eat all the live foods, drink all the fresh water, and breathe all your oxygen. But if you ignore the fourth pillar of health, you'd only reach half of your health potential. Listen to that. You could do the live foods, the breathing, and the exercise, and this is what most of us focus on, right? When we think of health, we think of, I gotta exercise, I gotta eat right, and pretty much that's where we leave our health. But there's a fourth pillar, and if you ignore that, you could virtually undo most of the benefits of all the other three combined. So, what is the fourth pillar of health? Well, you'll have to tune in next week to find out. I'm just kidding. Don't you hate it when TV shows do that? I hate it. Don't start something and not finish. That's what I think. The fourth pillar of health is positive emotions. Positive emotions, our emotional health, so to speak. Now, emotion, if you look at the word emotion, it's very interesting because it comes from France. And it means to set in motion or feelings in motion, which is interesting. And you can think of it another way. You could think of the E as energy, and motion, putting together with the motion, makes emotion. So I like to think of emotions as energy in motion. And if you think about it, our emotions are energy in motion. I mean, if you walk home, if you're in a bad mood and you walk into your home, are you going to create change with that negative emotion? You bet you are. And if you walk into your home in a very positive frame of mind, you're smiling, you're happy, are you going to affect change? Are you going to affect the way people react to you? So it is energy in motion. What we feel, what we cultivate as this thing called emotion, we actually affect the world. And we affect our body. So, how do emotions affect our health? Let's take anger, for example. When you feel angry, where do you feel it? Do you feel it in your stomach? Do you get tight there? Do you feel it as hair going up on the back of your neck? Maybe your shoulders get a little tense? Do you grit your teeth when you're angry? What about stress? Where do you hold stress? Do you hold it in your shoulders, in your back, in your neck, in your head? Has anyone ever got a headache out there? We've all had headaches, right? Well, what's actually happening with a headache is all that energy gets stuck there and constricts on those blood capillaries, cuts off blood supply, there's your headache. In fact, most headaches are caused by stress, which is caused by emotions. See, what we need to start doing is connecting these dots. In fact, all the emotions we experience have the physical effect associated with them. Joy and laughter, for example, have been well proven to boost the immune system, whereas sadness and sorrow suppress the immune system. Now, the immune system is responsible for keeping us healthy. So the more joy and laughter we experience, we're actually increasing our chance of staying healthy. Where the more sadness, anger, and sorrow and resentment, all those negative feelings, the more we experience them, the more likely we are to become sick. So, what does all of this mean? Basically, what it means is this. We need to start seeing emotions for what they are. Energy in motion. Let's talk about stress a little more. Chronic stress is an epidemic in our society today. Now, if you get angry once in a while, you're not going to weaken your immune system to a point of getting sick. However, the problem is we've made it a habit to judge, criticize, and blame everything we see in the world every day. It's now normal to feel emotions like fear, anger, and resentment every day, almost throughout the day. For example, you ever get annoyed waiting in line? You can wait maybe 1 or 2 minutes, but as soon as that checkout girl takes too long, what happens? You know what I'm talking about. What about getting the kids out for the bus? Right? Come on, get your lunch, get this, get that. Halfway out the door, they forget something. Come on, come on. If you don't get them out in time, you're going to have to drive them to school. Then you're going to be late for work. Come on, let's go. Right? What about job-related stress? Oh, I have no stress at my job. Who doesn't, right? What about feelings of loneliness or financial worries? What about when you're driving? Do you get mad at someone if they're driving too slow? Do you get mad if they drive too fast? Isn't it amazing that no one can drive the right speed? Except you, of course. What about being angry at someone and not being able to forgive them? That's a biggie. Now, we all do this, right? So we're not pointing fingers here. We all get in that criticizing, judging, blaming, anger routine more than we like. So, how can we begin to change these negative emotions and replace them with positive emotions? Now, it doesn't mean that the situation is going to go away. And it doesn't mean you should just not look at problems and just be happy all day, all right? But we want to start taking more control of our lives. We want to start taking more control over our emotions. So what's a practical way we can begin to do that? The first step is to realize that emotions like fear, criticism, blame, and anger and resentment all generate negative emotional energy. Although this may sound obvious, we don't realize that these thoughts and emotional patterns actually have a measurable effect on the body. And anytime you find yourself in a negative situation, or you find your emotions getting out of control, here's what you do. Stop and take 3 bottom-up breaths. Now remember the breaths that we did? Remember we were breathing before? Bottom up. Take 3 bottom-up breaths. What is that going to do? Number 1, it's going to interrupt the emotional pattern. It's going to get you out of it. It's going to give you some breathing room, so to speak. So this way, you get a little distance in between you and the emotion. Secondly, what you're going to do is you're going to reflect. You're going to use your mind. You're going to ask yourself some questions. You're going to breathe. And then ask yourself, do I want this in my life? Do I want this emotion? Do I want to invest my life energy in this emotion? And remember also, you can also think this, remember that that negative emotion that you're feeling is only hurting you more than the other person or thing. Sometimes we get mad at things. Sometimes I'll get mad if I don't find something in my house. I'll start running around, throwing things around, slamming doors. One time I broke a door, one of our cabinet doors. And of course, later I had to go fix it. So what I'm saying is we tend to hurt ourselves more than anyone else when we get in these negative emotional states. So when you find yourself in an emotional state, stop, take 3 bottom-up breaths, and reflect. Use your intellect. We have to engage our mind and our body. 2 things, mind and body. We have to engage them both in order to overcome these negative emotions and then transform them. It doesn't mean if we're dealing with a negative situation that we're suddenly just going to realize, I can be happy. I'm not saying that at all. What I am saying is once we get away from that negative emotion, we're now putting ourselves in the driver's seat. We're putting ourselves in control. We're choosing our life now. We're going to choose our emotional state. We're going to choose how we react to a situation rather than that situation causing us to react. There's a difference, right? You know what I'm talking about. And so at least that will give you that space so when you get back to that situation, when you have to go back in, you can say, I can deal with this from a more calm place. I don't have to ride my anger. I don't have to let my anger eat me alive while I'm dealing with this problem. And remember, anytime you find yourself getting stuck in a negative emotion, what do? Stop, take 3 breaths, and reflect. And as you develop this new habit, you'll find it easier and easier to ward off these negative emotions that have a stranglehold on you. Simply realizing the connection between your thoughts and your emotions and the effects they have on your body puts you back in the driver's seat of your life. And remember, without this realization, you'll continue to see yourself as a victim of your circumstance. Well, that's all we have time for today. Please join us again where we'll explore more ways to create vibrant health in your life. We'll also have special guests and doctors and health professionals on in future shows. And of course, we'll also see Elisa again, who will show us creative ways to improve the world we live in. Till we meet again, I'm Scott Foster, and may peace and vibrant health be with you.